Happy Monday, all you terrific people. Hope everybody had a fantastic weekend as we are winding down the NBA season here at the Crossover, presented by Prime Sports World. I'm your host, David On Point, right there, CEO of Prime Sports World, Mr. Israel Rivera. Thank you very much for joining us as we're going to be previewing the play-in game. If you're looking for consistent content on Facebook, YouTube, and on the Twitter at PSW_David. We go live 5 or 6 times a week, bringing the most up-to-date content. Also want to thank our friends over there at Rouge Bear for sponsoring us here at Prime Sports World. Let your presence be felt. Drop the link to their website and our Facebook page, along with the NBA Stream Facebook page as well. Mr. Rivera, how are you, man? Happy Monday, buddy.
I am doing great, man. Doing great. Ready to get things going, man.
Yeah, so we're gonna preview the play-in tournament. I personally, what is your thoughts on the play-in tournament just as a whole?
I think that the play-in tournament is good for basketball. It makes it you put 2 extra teams in there, and it's actually competitive. I actually like the play-in tournament.
I'm a fan of it as well.
Yeah.
I think it's a cool concept. It's for sure going to be here to stay. So if you don't like it, too bad. It's not going anywhere.
Right. Yeah. No, I think the NBA likes it too. They started this thing up. Last year, right? Was the first play-in tournament. So, yeah, I think the NBA is it's here to stay, man. It's competitive. Makes all compete. It gets you 2 other teams in the playoffs, and it's real competitive, and gives you those last 4 teams are pretty much even. You know what I mean? So,
well, to an extent, we'll get to we'll get to the West here in a minute. Let's talk about the first one. Let's start in the Eastern Conference. So the Nets host the Cavaliers tomorrow. The winner is automatically the 7th seed in the Eastern Conference. That loser goes on to play the winner of the Hawks Hornets. That game is on Wednesday, I do believe. And then the Hawks and the Hornets, whoever wins that game, whoever wins between the loser of the Nets Cavaliers and the winner of Hawks Hornets, they become the 8th seed in the Eastern Conference. The Nets are 44-38, Cavaliers 44-38, the Hawks 43-39, and the Hornets are 43-39. Let's first start with the first matchup. We got the Nets going up against the Cleveland Cavaliers, who have been in a little bit of a free fall over the last few months here with the injuries starting to pile up for that squad. How do you see that particular game shaking out?
The Nets with the Cavaliers. Well, I think that the Brooklyn Nets. I think Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving are just gonna have their way with the Cleveland Cavaliers, and there's nobody on the Cleveland that can guard Kevin Durant. There's nobody really on Cleveland that can guard Kyrie Irving. And then add into the mix, I don't know what Ben Simmons' status is for this game.
He's for sure. I think if he comes back, it's gonna be the first round of the playoffs. He's
yeah. Yeah, I don't think he'll play in this game either. So that's really a non-factor. The Cavs, man, they got some players. I mean, they're gonna disrupt Brooklyn with a little bit of their size up front, right? So they're young, athletic with Evan Mobley and Allen up front, and then you got Markkanen as well. So, in my opinion, I think Cleveland has a little bit more size in the front court. I don't know about you. I don't know what you think.
I 100% agree with you on that. I mean, look at the depth between these 2 teams. I mean, Andre Drummond's really the only established big that Brooklyn has. I mean, over in Cavaliers, you got Evan Mobley, you got his name is Jared Allen is going to be there.
Allen.
Markkanen, Moses Brown is also on this roster.
Yep.
Kevin Love, Isaac Okoro is a guy who can really defend, really can play.
Yeah, no, this is gonna be an interesting game. I just don't think there's nobody that KD and Kyrie are just superstars. There's no superstars on Cleveland, and we all know what happens in the playoffs with superstars against a team like Cleveland, who's like just well balanced. Superstars end up prevailing against these type of teams. So
especially these one and done scenarios where you just like our squad is just better than yours, and actually the Cavaliers actually have a higher point differential than the Brooklyn Nets do, by almost 1.5 points here. They're still the best defensive or second best defensive team in the Eastern Conference, so they could match up well with this particular squad. Because this Brooklyn Nets team, like they're porous on defense. So if Darius Garland gets hot from the 3-point line, they could make things interesting for the Cleveland Cavaliers. But I still think that the Brooklyn Nets have Kevin Durant. There's no way. I think they're gonna cruise through this game. I think they'll win.
Yeah. Yeah. And my thoughts. Exactly. I think they're gonna cruise to this game. I think they'll win by 10 plus points. In this game. And like I said, man, nothing against Cleveland, man. They're well balanced. Oh, we're forgetting Kevin Love, right? As well.
I
In the
mentioned
front
Kevin
court.
Love.
Did you? I thought you said Moses Brown or something like that.
I did mention Moses Brown too, but I
Yeah,
also
he's 7 foot, man. That guy's 7 foot, right? So, yeah.
Moses
Cleveland.
Brown is the dude from UCLA who's in that where
Yeah, to keep
his
your head
head's
up.
down. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah, he played well in OKC last year.
Yep.
Yeah, so yeah, no, like I said, the only way I see Cleveland winning this ball game is if they can limit the damage between with Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving and kind of just you're not going to stop them but slow them down a little bit defensively. And if you can out rebound Brooklyn and get more second chance points, I think you got a chance to put an upset here. But
Yeah, I
that's
mean
they literally have to
gotta
have things.
they gotta dirty this game up. Like they basically
Yeah.
have to limit the number of possessions that Brooklyn gets. You got to offensive rebound the ball basketball well. You just have to muddy up this game and kind of make it a slow paced, methodical game where you're playing a lot in the half court. If you get in transition, I don't think they can hang with Brooklyn.
No, not at all, not at all, not at all. So I got Brooklyn winning this one.
And then when it comes to the 9-10 matchup, we got the Hawks taking on the Hornets. There's their record 43-39. Hornets are 43-39 as well. The Hawks are, you can make the argument, the most disappointing team in the conference this season outside of the New York Knicks. You go from being in the Western Conference, in the Eastern Conference Finals to being barely in the play-in. But who do you think has the advantage when it comes to Hawks Hornets?
Man, both these teams are horrible on defense. This is gonna be a barn burner. When it comes to this game, man, I think that it's gonna come down to that point guard play. I honestly think that the Hawks have a little bit more offensively than the Hornets, and that's kind of saying that's the Hornets are one of the best teams offensively in the league, right?
Yeah.
So I think the Hawks are just more balanced, in terms of like from the front court, they get a little bit more in the front court all the way definitely down to Trae Young. I can see this is going to be one hell of a point guard duel. I mean, this is going to be one hell of a point guard duel with LaMelo Ball and Ice Trae. I don't know what particularly is going to be the difference, but I think the front court play of Atlanta might be the difference. We'll have to see, but this game's going to be high scoring. I just think that Trae Young and Atlanta Hawks, they've been there before. They're more. I mean, they've been in the playoffs. They went on the Eastern Conference Final run last year, so I think they get the job done against the Hornets. And these it's just a must-win game. What happened when it was a must-win game in Philly last year for Atlanta, right?
Yeah, there
when
you
they
go.
had to close out the series.
And not to mention, I mean, Charlotte was in this same scenario last year, and they just basically dropped a goose egg against was it Indiana, where they had an opportunity, to make the playoffs, make the play-in. They just didn't show up against Indiana.
No.
I think they're a year older, a year more wiser. I mean, some of their players have really improved here. The Marcus Harrell thing's been a nice fit. With that being said, though, yeah, I think Atlanta, top to bottom, when you look at their roster, I think they have more talent on there, more than Charlotte does. Charlotte's still kind of a piece away from being
competitive. Yeah. Charlotte is definitely one piece away from being competitive, like in terms of being like maybe in that 6 to 4 seed, maybe 6 to 5 seed, maybe the 7 to whatever. I don't know, 7 to 5 seed. I don't even want to say.
And then if you had to pick between
seed.
the Hawks and the Cavs when they match up, and who's going to be the 8th seed, who do you got being between the Hawks and the Cavaliers? That game would be
the Hawks and the Cavs to be the 8th seed. You said?
Yeah.
Well, I got the Hawks winning against the Hornets.
Yeah, I know, but they would have to. So they would play the loser of the Brooklyn Cavaliers game, and so whoever the Hawks have to win another game in order to make the playoffs.
Oh, to win to get the 8th seed, and then whoever wins that, no, and then the Nets are actually the 7th seed. Okay, right. I got you on that one. Oh man, I'm actually gonna go with Cleveland in this one.
I think agree with you, actually.
Yeah, I think I don't care about what Atlanta. I don't care if Atlanta was there and they went on the Eastern Conference Finals run last year. I just think Cleveland is just better than that. I just think Cleveland's better than them defensively. I think Cleveland's more balanced than them. I think you got the defenders to push and you got defenders that you could switch on Trae Young. Um, I just think Cleveland's just much better than them. They're longer. I think they're better. They're more sound defensively, and they're more balanced. Even though I think the Atlanta Hawks are, the potential is higher. The ceiling's higher with the roster in terms of all those young guys. But I just think Cleveland got them on this one. In terms of the roster, in terms of how they play, I think Cleveland will muck it up a little bit, which Atlanta doesn't want. Atlanta is horrible against physical teams. I mean, when you push Atlanta around and you punch them in the face, they give up. They don't know how to respond to that this year. I don't know what happened in terms of the aggressiveness with Atlanta this year, but I think
the Cavaliers. Trae Young said at the beginning of the season that he doesn't enjoy playing in the regular season. That it showed when they were the most disappointing team in the Eastern Conference. They've been mediocre at best most of the year. So yeah, I guess we'll see how that works out. Yeah, I'm taking the Cavs too. I think top to bottom, the Cavaliers team, I think maybe more talented. And I think Evan Mobley, Kevin Love, I think they're going to give those Hawks fits, especially down low. Clint Capella can only do so much. I know they have the other dudes too.
Okongwu.
Emeka Okongwu. But yeah, I'll take the Cavs. So I got the Brooklyn being the 7th seed, and I got the Cavs being the 8th seed. If we swing over now into the Western Conference, we got the Minnesota Timberwolves hosting the Los Angeles Clippers. The winner of that game is going to be the 7th seed, the West. The loser plays the winner of the Pelicans and Spurs. Timberwolves 46-36, Clippers 42-40. And then the Pelicans are hosting the Spurs. The winner of that game plays the loser of the Timberwolves Clippers. The winner of that game will be the 8th seed in the Western Conference. Pelicans 36-46, the Spurs 34-48. So let's first talk about the Spurs Clippers. How do you see this one? How do you see this game shaking out? It doesn't sound like Kawhi Leonard is available in this game. He's not going
to. Whew, man. Give me the Clippers. I mean, Paul George is still going to be playing. And the Clippers have showed that they can win with nothing pretty much all year, right? Reggie Jackson's stepped his game up. A lot of those other guys have stepped their game up on the Clippers. When it comes to the Spurs, I think that I think they're still young. They're still trying to figure it out. Jakob Poeltl's a great young player. DeJounte Murray. DeJounte Murray's an all-star. He's a great young player. They got some solid pieces on that team, but I just think the Clippers, as a whole, are just more. I want to say they're more cohesive, in my opinion. And I think they went to battle. This is the Eastern Conference Finals team last year, and they know how to win without their best players. And then they have one of their best players still playing in this game with Paul George. So I think he's special in this game. And I think the Clippers get it done against the Spurs. But it's going to be a close game.
They would play Minnesota.
Oh, they play Minnesota. I thought you were talking. Oh my goodness, David, you got me over here talking about the Spurs, and you didn't stop me in the middle of that.
I didn't know where you were going with that. My bad.
God.
They would play Minnesota. They play Minnesota.
So if that's the case, I'm so sorry, everybody. I'm so sorry. I'm over here looking at David's graphics. I'm thinking the Clippers play the Spurs. No. So if that's the case,
the same way that I had the graphics on the other side for the Eastern Conference. But yeah, the Minnesota and the Clippers are.
And the Clippers, okay, yeah. I'll be short with this. I think Minnesota gets it done. I just think Patrick Beverley brings them a different type of energy. I think Karl Anthony Towns is taking his game to another level. I think Anthony Edwards is taking his game to another level. I think Malik Beasley. Not Malik Beasley. Godly. Who else is on that team?
Yeah,
is it Malik Beasley? Yeah, Malik Beasley. Yeah, Malik Beasley. Yeah, Malik Beasley's been playing well this season. So yeah, give me Minnesota to win this game actually against the Clippers.
I completely agree with you on the Minnesota thing. I love what I've seen out of Anthony Edwards. I love what I've seen out of D'Angelo Russell. This team has
D'Angelo Russell too. Yep.
And this team has a grit to them. I think they've been playing really good, especially the All-Star break. Look for them. Yeah, man, they almost came back and beat us last night in the Bulls game. When we were up by like 20 points, and they somehow came back and won.
I don't know how that happened, but yeah.
On the other side, we got the New Orleans Pelicans taking on the Spurs. I gotta be frank with you. I don't think it matters which of these two teams wins because they're gonna get spanked by the Clippers. Like this Spurs team has a bunch of really young players, but they're still not even close to being there. And New Orleans without Zion, they're in limbo, and I just don't think they have enough talent to really compete with. If the Clippers, let's say we both think the Clippers lose, I don't think it matters who wins. They're gonna get spanked by.
There's one guy. Okay. So I honestly, in between this matchup, it doesn't matter. Yeah, you're right. I think the Clippers are gonna get this 8 seed. I think the Clippers are gonna be either or New Orleans or the Spurs.
But I mean, I think if you are the Clippers or the Minnesota Timberwolves, you want to avoid this plague.
You said what?
Like if you're Minnesota or the Clippers, like you don't want to be like the incentive should be to win the 7-8 matchup so you can play Memphis instead of Phoenix. Because if you match up against Phoenix, it don't matter. It's over.
Yeah, it's over. You're gonna lose in 4. Yeah, but if you got that 7 seed, Memphis is still young and they really haven't played. They haven't played in the playoff series. All those guys never. This is new territory for them, so they don't even know how to win in this. And neither has Minnesota either. I mean, Karl Anthony Towns been to a playoff, and Patrick Beverley has playoff experience. They have more playoff experience in Minnesota than what they do in Memphis. So yeah, you're right. I think that whoever wants to get that 7 seed, because they have a real shot at upsetting Memphis in that first round because of the lack of playoff experience they have. And then in between New Orleans and San Antonio, I know that I'm going to go and pick San Antonio right now, but I'm going to say this: New Orleans got this young point guard from Georgia Tech. I forget his name. He's an undrafted rookie. Hispanic fella. I forget his damn name, man.
I got it. Let's see, Jose Alvarado.
Alvarado, man, he does. Okay, this is just out of nowhere, but he does this thing where he sits in the corner and he'll let the point guard dribble it up, and then he'll sneak up behind him and steal the ball. He's done that like 5 times this season. But the kid's actually a good player. So what does it matter against the Spurs? No, I just think the Spurs are probably gonna beat them by 10 plus points as well. But I just wanted to throw that out there. But I like the Pelicans.
I'll take the Pelicans to win against the Spurs. I think it's CJ McCollum, Brandon Ingram. That should be a good. Jonas Valanciunas has had a really good season. When I look at the Spurs roster, I mean, outside of DeJounte Murray, none of it really impresses me all that much.
Really? You serious? I mean, I think Pop's gonna put up a game plan to limit those guys. Yeah, you're gonna see. Pop.
But talent eventually rises up, and like when you look at Keldon Johnson's a fine player, but Joshua Primo's a rookie. Devin Vassal's kind of a second-year player who hasn't been all that good. Jakob Poeltl is fine.
He's okay.
Yeah, he's fine.
He's fine.
And then Josh Richardson's been pretty good as a Spur. Trey Jones, I just don't believe that this is going to be talented enough to upset a Pelicans team that has some talent. Like, they have CJ McCollum, they have Brandon Ingram, and like these guys are going to be able to elevate the roster. Devontae Graham, Larry Nance Jr. is also on this team. So yeah, give me the Pelicans to win this matchup. But I really don't think it matters because whoever plays the Clippers.
I think Pop's gonna be able to limit at least one of those two guys. He's either gonna force. I think he might force CJ McCollum to like kind of take those reins and probably score down the stretch, because I think he'll take that ball out of Brandon Ingram's hands. But that's just me.
I guess we'll see.
We'll see.
I'm gonna take the Pelicans, and I think that Minnesota is gonna be the 7th seed, and the Clippers will be the 8th seed over in the Western Conference. And sorry, Clippers, but your season will be over really shortly because this Phoenix.
Y'all going fishing, baby. You're going fishing.
Yeah. if whoever has to play Phoenix in the first round. One final thing before we get up out of here. Frank Vogel was fired this afternoon or this morning, whenever that happened to happen. Record 33-49. Missed the play-in tournament. The Lakers lost 18 of 24 games after the All-Star break. -3 when it comes to their point differential. Frank Vogel, 127-98 the head coach of the Los Angeles Lakers. Just give me a real quick what you think about the firing. What do you think the Lakers do here? And who do you think could be the next coach on the chopping block?
Okay, yeah. So answer your question number 1. I think this is well deserving. I just think he wasn't the right coach from the get-go. I just think that he just wasn't a strong presence in the locker room. And I just think a lot of injuries kind of was his downfall. You saw the first season, they were good. They were okay. They were good defensively, but that was a whole different, and that was a more veteran-laden roster. And they had a whole different personnel on that team that can actually shoot and play D. So yeah, but it was well worth it. His time was coming. They needed a new voice in that locker room, and his rotations were all they were all just screwed up. He just never really stuck to a solid rotation. Albeit I know injuries happen, but his rotations were all kind of messed up, in my opinion. So it was well deserving. And then who do I think? Who I think they can replace him? They've been talking a lot about Nick Nurse replacing him from the Toronto Raptors.
Why would you leave?
You know what? It's La La Land, brother, and it's the Lakers. And if you throw a whole bunch of money at Nick Nurse, I think anybody will go for that greenery, you know. So that's just me. It's the Lakers. They got cachet.
I'm not sure the Los Angeles Lakers job is a better job than that Toronto job right now.
It's not. It's not. But it's just the Lakers, bro. It's the cachet. It's La La Land. It's Los Angeles. It's the Lakers. It's they got history. You got Kareem, Wilt, Jerry West, and Magic Johnson, and Kobe Bryant, and Shaq. You know what I mean? So that's enough to bring and a lot of coaches go there to okay, I want to be the next Phil Jackson. I want to be the next Pat Riley. I want to be, the next whoever. You know what I mean? I want to be one of those Hall of Fame coaches that gets put up in that banner in the Staples Center. Well, it's not the Staples Center no more, but in Los Angeles. So that would be I think that would be a motivating factor for a coach like Nick Nurse, who knows that the Toronto job is probably better, but going for the cachet of the Lakers. And every time you got LeBron James, you got a shot at possibly, doing some things, right? Another coach
outside of this season, I guess.
Yeah, outside of this season. Another coach that I would like to see, and I know you got to go a little quick here. I know we got to be quick fire. Mike Brown, he used to be an old coach for LeBron. I think he's a perfect guy for this job. I mean, he's been the assistant there in Golden State forever, it seems like. Now, I think he's ready to get back in a head coaching job. I think this is a job fit for him. He's coached.
And he has the respect of LeBron James.
Oh, he has a hell of respect for LeBron James. They went to a finals together and everything. So, Mike Brown. Yeah, Mike Brown is definitely a guy that they should look at. And then another guy, and I know this is probably a long shot, and I don't know why a lot of NBA teams aren't giving him a shot, but I kind of got a gist. Mark Jackson should probably get some consideration, but I think his style was kind of like dinosaurish. If that's not a word.
Well, I mean, if you could instill this team to play hard, I mean, that would be enough. I think this Laker job is not a particularly good one right now, because the roster kind of sucks and you don't have a lot of cap space or flexibility. I think selling somebody on this roster and on this team is gonna be difficult.
Hey, you know what they're gonna do? They're gonna be like, hey, look. Our undrafted rookie Austin Reeves just dropped 36, 16, and 10.
Stop it.
Hey, I had to throw that out because I was like, yo, we should do a funny tidbit on the crossover about all those players on the last game of the season. Who has the most potential out of all the end of the bench players?
Patrick Williams. Patrick Williams is the only one who has any potential whatsoever.
Hey, did you see Obi Toppin drop 43? How did he even drop 43? Were they all dunks? I mean, come on. Seriously? Again, I was just like, well, are you serious? What is going on here, man? But yeah, I think that Lakers job it is a good job, but they'll sell it on the cachet that it's the Lakers, it's Los Angeles, and we got LeBron James, and still Anthony Davis.
I think this will be a lengthy search. Like I don't think tomorrow they're gonna be hiring somebody. Like this is gonna be a drawn out process.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And honestly, I thought that Jason Kidd was probably a better fit for this job than Frank Vogel was.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, Frank Vogel. I mean, say what you will. I mean, he won a title with this team. So
yeah, you can say that. I mean, he did some good things in Indiana. He's not a bad coach. He's not that bad of a coach. I just think he's one of those guys that, I mean, he showed that he can win with a veteran team, but I think he's one of those guys that needs a project. Like how the Indiana Pacers were a project with Roy Hibbert and Paul George. And,
I mean, they went to the Eastern Conference Finals 2 years ago. I don't know if this necessarily is a project. By the way, the coach I think is going to be next. Look for Tom Thibodeau between now and the end of the week.
Hell no. Oh, to get fired next. Yeah, Tom Thibodeau. He ain't, no, the Lakers will never hire Tom Thibodeau.
No, I'm talking about the next guy who could be hot. Who'll be looking for a new job. Look for Tom Thibodeau.
Yeah, and Tom Thibodeau, he'll probably be Tom Thibodeau will honestly probably be just like on ESPN or FS1, all miserable, coming on there every day on First Take or Undisputed, or something. Like like have you ever watched? And I'm so sorry for like going off. Have you ever watched Stan Van Gundy this year commentate?
Oh, he's awful.
He's
So bad.
awful. He's awful, but he's like super extra bitter. He's like, oh yeah, oh they weren't doing that when I had Zion. You know what I mean? Like super extra bitter that he got fired. So that's gonna be Tom Thibodeau. That's gonna be Tom Thibodeau next year. Super extra bitter on the air on why he got fired last season.
But that's been the show. We're just previewing the play-in games and talk a little bit about Frank Vogel and the Lakers' decision to fire Frank Vogel today. Hopefully, you guys enjoy the play-in games. We're going to be back here with the crossover, doing a preview of the whole playoff series once the play-in games are done. I think we're going to be doing that on Friday, so keep an eye out for that content. Tomorrow, we think we're doing another mock draft for the NFL, as we are only like 15 days away from the NFL draft. So keep an eye out for that content. I've been David Huppin right there, CEO of Prime Sports World with Cyril Rivera. And Izzy, what we do here at the Prime, my friend?
We bring the heat, ladies and gentlemen. Bring the heat.
Yes, we do it. It's 60 degrees here in Chicago right now, so enjoy it, my friend.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I'll see you later, brother.
Holla back, everybody.
Peace out.